Hello and welcome to another episode of Rich Does a Thing. I'm really excited about this episode. I've been looking forward to this for a while. So over the past year or so, I have been learning computer stuff. Learning about building computers, repairing computers, doing all sorts of stuff. And I've, generally speaking, been working on laptops. And now I have seen the light, and I understand the wonder and the power and the ability to maintain inexpensively a desktop computer. And so I've wanted to make one. I've been scrounging my money and saving and planning this first build, and here it has actually come to fruition. I have built my very first computer. And it is right here. Now I want to show it to you. So I'm gonna show you the actual computer, and it's been great. Now that I've gotten it up and running and started fine-tuning all the bits, I love it so very much. I'm actually taking another class this semester where pretty much all of what we are doing is happening on a virtual machine on our computer. And they have it set up so that just about anybody can run that virtual computer inside their computer. Oh, but having a newer system that actually has the stuff that I need it to be is making it run so much nicer, so much faster, so much quicker, so much easier to go through this class. This giant beast I call COLOSSUS. And I'll tell you a little bit more about it as I kind of show you piece by piece. But in some cases, this is a little overbuilt. And in some cases, it's a little underbuilt because it's kind of made to be able to upgrade later. The case, the fans, the cooler for the processor, so much of this case, the power supply, is all stuff that, as far as I'm concerned, I can just keep and reuse again and again and again. And you can't do that with a laptop. And with, if you're just buying a desktop computer off the shelf, you might not necessarily want to reuse those parts, but it can here, which means it's going to save me money the next time that I want to buy a new computer, because I'm only replacing like half the parts. But anyway, so let's get into it and let me show you COLOSSUS. So there it is, and I will be showing you a little bit more on the inside past all that glare in a minute, but I wanted to show you the case as a whole. That is a Lian Li 011 Dynamic XL. It actually is a pretty darn big case. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the top there. We're going to slide that off, and that's going to let us take those tempered glass panels out, and then I'll be able to show you more in just a second. Alright, so let's check this thing out. I am super excited about this whole thing. So there's lots of space in this case for all sorts of good stuff for future builds. I kind of purposefully overbuilt it. That way there'd be some things that I'd be able to use on future builds again and again, and some things that I could be just, using for now. So the case itself, this I consider kind of a forever case. Anytime I need a brand new system, because this one has, gotten 10 years old or whatever, I can put it in this case and it's fine. This case can hold all sorts of different sizes of motherboards, from ITX, ATX, the EATX. This is a standard ATX size motherboard. It can hold all sorts of stuff. We actually have a total of 10 fans in this case, so the cooling is going to be really, really nice. And I can use these fans again. These are, until they wear out or something, these are forever fans. They're really nice. They're pretty. They have the RGB. They are the Lian Li AL 120s. So it's their newest design of their fans, and it's kind of cool. So they actually, each one daisy chains and links together. They just kind of slide together before they get screwed into place, and that way when we've got the cables, really you can kind of see on the top of here, that little white thing there is that's all the cable. That's all the cable for that entire section of fans. Whereas with normal fans, each one of those 3 fans is going to have 2 cables coming out of it. It's going to have one for the fan power and one for the fancy lighting, the RGB. Whereas that just has the one that once it goes in there, it actually splits off into 2 cables. But we've done a pretty decent job in cable management, so you can't really see it. Same thing, that set on the bottom also it's just kind of sneaking through back in there. Actually, no, it's sneaking through over here. So yes, you can see it comes off from that plate. It comes through there. We kind of have them snuck around the back and into here so that when you're seeing this from the front, they're not terribly visible. So we've got all those, and that's keeping everything nice and cool, including, so we have our processor. So we are running an AMD 5600X, so which is a decent mid-range. It's the most popular processor on the Newegg site. A lot of people are doing it. It's got a fair amount of power, but it's not like a huge, ridiculous beast, but you're still going to get a good amount of power out of it. So this is a Lee Galahad that's running right up here. So it's a Lee Galahad 360, because it's a 360 millimeters with big old radiator up there. So if you're unfamiliar, basically that is a water cooling system for our processor. Your processor heats up, and the hotter it gets, the kind of slower it runs, because it can only heat up to a certain amount before it is programmed to back off working as hard as it possibly can. So with all computers now, they tend to have a fan mounted to there, or some sort of fan radiator, something like a big old block that helps to blow air on that processor to keep it cool. So with a water-cooled one, this is actually really cool. So there's this whole system. This is a water cooling pump, and basically the block, a nice little kind of copper block that presses right up against the processor with some thermal paste. And that sucks the heat out of the processor just as fast as it can, and it moves that heat into the water. Now, using this pump, we got these 2 nice little tubes here, and one's in pushing the water out, and one's pulling the water back in, and it's running to. So we have these 3 fans that are connected to this right here. Is actually not part of the case. That is our radiator. We have our nice little dust filter there that's showing. So there is our radiator. So that's going to actually pump the warm water into here, and those 3 fans are going to help blow cooler air, or at least the cooler air from the case. It's going to push that through the radiator using the convection, pulling that heat out, and then the water is going to get cooler as it comes back through the other side, through the tube, back to the processor. So that keeps things really cool, because there's a lot more heat that you can hold in water than you can hold in air. So also that means that as far as the cooling of the processor, that's all being taken care of right up here. That's it. The heat's just coming here. So all these other fans are working to cool the rest of the computer, which right now, with what I've got, it's actually not throwing off very much heat. So it's a really amazing, really efficient system. It's actually got a positive air pressure. So we've got these 3 fans on the side, these 3 fans on the bottom. Those are sucking air in from not only under the case here, but also from the side. And then the air is coming out through not only the back exhaust here, but also through these 3 fans as well. So we've got 6 coming in and 4 coming out. So with that positive pressure case, it means that there's, again, there's a positive pressure, almost like a balloon, inside the case. And that's a good thing to have. You do want it to kind of be as neutral as possible, but we've got a dust filter under here. Boom. So there's dust filter, keeping the dust from getting sucked up into the system. There's a magnetic dust filter on the back side of here, not as easy to get to. I'll kind of show you. We have a white case here. So I mean, that would take some more doing. And of course, there's the dust filter there, even though that's kind of an air out. So all the air that's getting sucked through is coming through that dust filter, so that helps to keep the dust out of the case. If you have a negative pressure system, now let's imagine we had, for some reason, we were like just reversed. We had like the 4 fans pulling air in and 6 fans blowing stuff out. If it's negative pressure, then it's trying to pull air in from anywhere, and it could be anywhere. It could be from any little breaks in the case on the side. It could be from just the spot there on the side, or maybe through that little hole right there. Any little hole, it's going to pull air through, and that's not going to have a dust cover. So you're going to get a lot more dust in your system, which can make things overheat and make it not very happy. So that was kind of part of the plan as well. But again, the fans we can use for whatever. Yes. So processor. So we have a Asus TUF Gaming, I want to say X570 Pro. Hold on, I got the box. Oh my God, I got it. So yes, the Asus X570 Pro motherboard, which is a decent motherboard. It's not the most expensive, amazing motherboard that you've ever seen, but it's good. It's pretty darn decent. It lets you do the things. And so it has not only all the sorts of fancy lighting even on the motherboard itself, it's got decent, chipsets and stuff. We've got lots of wonderful little ports for things like the USB 2, USB 3s, and all sorts of fun stuff like that. We got some ARGB headers and things. Some of these cables, now that I'm taking another look, some of these cables I gotta fix because they're not quite as perfectly managed as I would like, but not too bad. We've got, I believe, 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM, and that's, oh God. I mean, I got a deal on these 2 RAM sticks, but it's gorgeous. I mean, I didn't necessarily get them because they were gorgeous, but this as one of my coworkers said, baller RAM, this absolutely gorgeous jewelry-like RAM, was about the same price as the equal RAM that was just less pretty. So, I mean, absolutely, why not? Now, the hard drive to this whole thing, I can have multiple hard drives, but right now, it's right back under this heatsink plate is my little stick, my M.2. I'm using a PCIe 3 hard drive because it's just less expensive. The motherboard does support a 4, but we're just not using that little extra because it's way expensive. There is another slot for, I think, yes. So there is another slot for another M.2, which I can put in there, and I would kind of like to do that at some point, but we're not quite there. Again, this whole setup is made to be able to upgrade later. Speaking of upgrading, here's our graphics card. This is our buddy here. So our processor doesn't come with its own integrated graphics. So in order to have anything, even a desktop or whatever, you need a graphics card, and they are crazy expensive right now. So this is a GT 1030, which is, I mean, we're getting right along the bottom of the barrel. But you know what? With graphics cards being 3 times the prices that they really are supposed to be right now, all I needed was something that would let me, have a desktop, open up a window or 2, maybe use Chrome. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're running right now. In a couple of years, maybe when the market drops, we can get something a little bit more reasonable. So we've got, by the way, this case has all sorts of really great ports. So we have not only like a power button, reset button, we have, these are 2 USB 3 ports, which are some really, really nice fast. Speaking of really, really nice fast, a USB focus, come on, do the focus thing. It's a USB 3.2, it's a USB-C. So that is like when you're going to charge your phone, that little oval, that's that. They actually make memory sticks that use that. You can use that as a data cable. And not only does that have a crazy amount of power behind it, but it's so fast. It's even faster than the USB 3s that are up here. And by the way, there's USB 3s down here as well. There's just so many USB 3s here. There's spots for like headphones and microphone if you really want to as well. So the cables coming from that case have to get run to the motherboard somewhere. Now again, I said this is a good motherboard, but it's not an absolutely amazing motherboard. So the USB 3, yes. So we got a USB 3 plugged in down here. Originally I had it just plugged in regular, but I didn't like how it was coming out, bowing out, and then going back down in. So so I got a right angle connector. So that makes things look a little cleaner, a little nicer. That's where all of our like front buttons and our power and our reset and everything are being connected to. So, and then the other one down here, which is supposed to also be a USB 3, we only have the one USB 3 connector on here. So we couldn't do it. Now, for some people, I've seen where they just left it dead. So you plug something in there and nothing's going to happen. It's just, that's it, sorry, nothing. And I really didn't want to do that. So I found an adapter. I believe it's this one right here. So that actually takes a USB 2 header and it connects it to a USB 3 cable. So that adapter actually runs down back here, and then in the guts of the computer, it's connecting to another one of these cables here. So I can, as you can see, I can plug things into it. It will work. It just won't be as fast, and that's okay, because you know what? This is my forever case. That means my next motherboard is probably going to have more than one USB 3 header, and then we'll have the case running at full speed. Huzzah! We also have it connected. This wonderful little black cable is for our USB-C. That is it. So that whole port, because like here, these is 2 plugs, goes to the 1 plug for the super quickie fast. Whereas like this 1 plug gets it to 1 plug on the motherboard, and oh goodness, is that sucker fast. I don't get a chance to use it very often, but you know, I have the ability. This is one of these things where the system's going to kind of grow with me. We have our power cables running for not only the motherboard itself, also we have our power cables for the CPU that are running up there. I got some nice purple sleeve cables running through there. The power supply that you can't see because it's mounted way back here on the behind this thing here. It's a really nice Butterfly, I believe the brand is. 750 watts. This is another like big beastly thing. I specifically built it so that if I get a bigger, better graphics card, basically if I get a 3090 dropped into my lap tomorrow, I can plug that sucker into this case, into this motherboard, into that power supply, and I don't have to upgrade my power supply. I don't have to upgrade my cooling. I don't have to upgrade anything. That's it. It just saves me money later on. So we've got that. Now we also got this other ugly green card with, you know, so this is a RAID card. Now, not only am I doing this because I'm learning computer stuff, but this case, you won't be able to see it very well, but in the back of this case, if anyone really wants to see it later, I can show you. I have 4 what are known as hot swap bays. Basically, they are doors that lets me take hard drives and just slide them into the back of the case. Now, normally you got to open up your computer and put in hard drives, and especially like the big beastie, the big chungus drives. But with this, you don't. You can actually, I can put 4 big chungus hard drives into here. Now, with this RAID card, that means that I can basically make this system believe that those 4 hard drives are 1 hard drive. I don't have the drives yet, so I don't have it set up. That might be another video we do at some point. But the RAID setup is going to be super cool because it's going to have a couple redundancies, which means that if any 2 of those drives fail catastrophically, catch fire, get hit with a hammer, mice chew it, a rabid moose stole it and added it to his NFT collection, I don't know, whatever. If any of that happens to 2 of those hard drives, it doesn't matter because I can just take 2 spare clean hard drives, plug them back in, and it will rewrite all of that data so that I won't have lost anything. And that's going to be great for my deep storage, my photos, my important files, my everything. So that's all going to be part of that, and that's really, really cool too. So yeah, that's the basic of the system. I got the RAM, and this is my first build. This is my very first build, and I'm super happy with how everything turned on, or how it turned out. But if we're talking about turning on, let's slap the glass back on here, and let me show you what it looks like when we turn this thing on, shall we? Okay, so we have the glass, the tempered glass, back on this case, and I really do like this case because you can see all the cool work that I've done. You can see all the nice, fairly clean wiring. Some stuff I wish it could be cleaner, but there's limited amounts that I can do, and what I'm still learning. And so yeah, you put the tempered glass on there, and that stuff can't come off. So it actually has this nice top on there, and that slides and clicks into place, and there's 2 thumb screws in the back that you use to hold it in place, and this glass can't come off. It's actually slid in a track, so it can't come out until you've taken everything else out. So so that's super cool. But here, I mean, you want to see how pretty I made this thing. You want to see? You ready? Are you ready for this? And that sucker is like a light show. That's so cool. So these fans, not only do they light up, and yeah, they're gorgeous. And so it's the RGB. You can rainbow the heck out of all the things, from the pump. You can see the front of the pump. You got all sorts of lights. Actually, the side ring of that pump, you can hear the Bluetooth connecting. The RAM is just. And this looks pretty good here, but I swear it looks even better and more crisp in person. We get the RGB from the motherboard, and all these fans, every fan in this thing, all just lit up and gorgeous. And you can program them with different colors and things like that. I wanted to show you just the vibrant color glory that this thing is. And now let me oh yeah, and that's right, there's also an RGB strip on the front of the case as well, which I forgot about. Now that, I'm not in a position where I can control that through the motherboard or anything right now. There's a little switch over here, so we could switch to different types of lighting effects and stuff like that. But for right now, I just kind of have it dripping different colors and stuff like that. Let me show you some of the color that I got going on that I tend to do. All right, so lately that's what I've been having. Just this wonderful kind of slow breathing, fading in and out of the purple amongst all the fans, and even kind of the pump header, everything like that as well. And then the RAM and the motherboard itself is doing kind of a flickering, kind of purplish, bluish thing going on. So the cool thing, I can have other things also part of it, and so my mouse does that kind of as part of that whole thing. And even like my keyboard can do things as well, and I can program my keyboard. Let's see if I remember. There we go. So now we got kind of a bluish, reddish, purplish fading around in the keyboard as well. So yeah, and you can get all these things, and it's just, you can do so many different effects, and it's so cool, and I am so happy with this computer build. So yeah, isn't that cool? That is, it's like, it's right here, just out of frame. It's glowing at me. It's just this is like, I feel like this is like baby pictures. Like, this is look at my kid. Look what I did. Only instead of doing things with my genes, I'm doing things with like my hands and electricity and some ones and zeros and some thermal paste. Yeah, it's so cool. I'm so excited. I know that I'm going to be able to upgrade the hard drives. I'm going to be able to upgrade. I mean, I could upgrade the processor without upgrading anything else, and that would be fine. I wouldn't have to change the motherboard. I wouldn't have to change the RAM. I wouldn't have to, there's, I showed you, there's the 2 RAM sticks there. There's spots for 4. I legit could buy 2 more sticks and just like double the RAM or more, but the world's my oyster. It's so cool. So I hope you enjoy that. I mean, obviously, if you're sticking around this long in the video, either you think it's cool, most likely you actually are, you're a computer person, and you have some interest in that, or man, you really just like me and like hearing me talk about things that I'm excited about. So in any case, thanks for still being here. I will tell you what. So I've done some work on the cable management stuff, as you've seen, which is the computery terms for basically hiding wires as best you can, so that everything that you see is pretty. So I've done a pretty decent job with that. I will say all the guts in the back of the computer, that is like the closet space. That's where you can just shove stuff in there and nobody will see it. But this is my first build. This is like a pride build for me. So I did a pretty decent job even of organizing the wires and everything in the back. So if you're a computer person, and if there's a chance that you'll ever come over, let me know, and maybe I'll give you a backstage tour of the inside, the guts of my computer, all the wires and the cable, because these things are very nicely zip tied and in cases labeled, and just good stuff. So I get this wonderful happy feeling, and this was so cool. I loved scheming this. I loved building it. It was so much fun. I ran into some troubles. It's right, if we're doing deep dive, I might as well tell you. So I had everything that I figured I needed put together and plugged in there. But there were a couple of things that kind of stuck me, tripped me up a little bit. So for one of them was kind of I was waiting for my USB 2 to USB 3 adapter. That didn't like trip me up. I knew I was just waiting for that to come in the mail. So the fans on top of the AIO, as it's called, the all-in-one water cooling thing. Those 3 fans are a little bit different than all the other fans, and I couldn't get those to light up. I could get them to run, but I couldn't get them to light up because I couldn't get them to plug into the controller for all the other fans, which was weird because it's the same company. Lee makes those nice daisy chaining fans. Then Lee makes that water cooler and all the fans attached to it. Lee made my case, so like, why can't all those things talk to each other? Lee, if you let me know. Turns out, I thought I was screwing up. I thought I was missing what plugged into what. After much post-research, turns out, no, there is no setup to plug that cable, those fans, into the fan controller for the rest of the other fans. For some reason, I have no idea why. So I had to order a box of cables. It was the Lee TM box of cables, which had like 4 different cables, which was just like, I only needed the one, but that's how you get them, is you order the box of cables, and it's just like the 4 troublesome cables that they don't include with other things. So like, you got a problem here, here's the fix-it box. So apparently I now have other ways of fixing other problems with them as well. But whatever, it was done, it was taken care of. It was a little frustrating because I couldn't just make it immediately pretty. The second problem that I ran into, is with my RAID card. So my RAID card has a connector. It's a SAS connector. It gave me SAS, so I had to fix it. And so the SAS connector, it plugs a one thing into the card, and then that I bought that, and it splits out to 4 of the SATA cables. Now, generally speaking, the SATA cables you plug into hard drives. So you just plug them right into your hard drive, and you go. The trouble is that I didn't have just 4 plain old hard drives. I have my hard drive hot swap bays that I was telling you about. Now, hot swap bays are really cool because of how they are connected, how that whole setup is. That whole fixture just automatically has its own little cable coming out. And that little cable that comes out runs to a SATA connection, which you would put on your board, your motherboard. Oh. Okay, which, I mean, I've got the spots. I could do it, but I needed it to go to the RAID card. Okay, fine. So now we've got the cable and we've got the other cable, but the trouble is that these SATA cables are as they there's probably a more a PC term for it now, but they are female. They are the socket part of the cables. Because when you're plugging it into your hard drive, the hard drive's got the... And so cable hooks onto the hard drive. Just kind of like when you're on your board has the... And the cable holds on to that. So the cables are female. But the problem is, I had female cable coming from the hot swap bays that you can't change this out. It's part of the fixture. It's attached to it. Okay. And then I had the cable coming from the SAS turning into the female, and it doesn't. I mean, in real life, it is fun, but in computer, no, they won't connect. And those cables, generally speaking, don't come with like a male counterpart. They don't come with the insert part because you have no reason. There's no need to. So I had to search and find special SATA male-to-male cables. That way I could connect those. Which means that something that really should take one cable to go to those 4 hard drives, to each of those, just kind of splits into those 4 hard drives, now has like 12 cables. Because there's the cable from the hard drive connecting into the cable. If Lewis Black worked IT, which I think he might, he looks like he might, I digress. The cable goes into the other cable, 2, which goes into the third cable, 3, which goes into the SAS. But there's 4 hard drives, so you take in the 3 multiplied by 4, and now there's 12 cables shoved into the back of that computer. And again, I did my best to make it look fairly pretty. But man, that takes up a lot of space back there. And in order for all the for the colors on the fans, that set of fans and the other set of fans and the other set of fans and that one over there, and then the pump header and then the outside of the pump header, and I had to use 2 different lighting controller boxes with a splitter. And so now I've got those 2 controller boxes in the back. Like, there's so much crap shoved into the back side of the computer that you can't even see. So like when you look back there, I mean, it's still kind of shoved in there, but it's the most organized, clipped together, exhausting kind of in that moment. And as I was getting things finished, but right now I feel really good about where we're at in it. When I get hard drives, I can just throw them in the back without having to take apart any of that stuff. I shouldn't have to open that case at all. And it's good. It's ready to roll. I mean, if I swap out, like I said, a graphics card or something, I should be able to I'll open up the case and just unplug that, plug in the other, go. So, I'm excited. Things are running really quick, really smooth. I'm getting into virtual machine stuff in my computer. I love all these things that I'm learning, that I'm trying to put into practice. It has been an absolute blast. I love this. I mean, I wish I had infinite money and ability to build computers for all my friends, because I've already been scheming builds for, like, building Jesse a computer, scheming if I built my mom a computer and stuff like that. And it's fun. It's fun. It's gratifying. I like finding the way things kind of can piece together and be efficient for what people's needs are and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're local and if you're thinking about getting a computer, holy crap, let me know, because I'd be more than happy to help plan something out for you, and maybe we can get something built. Or even if I'm just scheming stuff for you and we don't actually build it, you know what? That's kind of fine. I'm kind of cool with just giving you the theoretical of like, hey, here's maybe a budget that you should be working towards or something like that. But it's cool. It's fun. It's fine. This is a blast. And I'm glad you guys were able to come here and enjoy it with me. So, as always, check us out at youtube.com/richdoesathing, which you're here. Hit the little subscribe button. If you like the video, which if you're here this long, you know you do, you like the video, hit the like. In the comments, tell me, how old is your system? How old is your system, and like, what kind of system would you like? What kind of system would you want? Like, what kind of things would you end up to be doing with your system type of things? Let me know. Or if there's something in particular you really liked about this video, also let me know in the comments. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. I adore you all. Bye.